right, we are live on a Saturday, our first ever Saturday morning Osceola Seminole Sidelines pregame show. And of course, we're joined as always by Mark Salva, who is always with us on First Impressions right after the game. And we're also joined by two men who need no introduction, but we will introduce them anyway. Former FSU wide receiver Kez McCorvey and former FSU safety, almost strong side linebacker Bill Ragans, who we affectionately call Billy Sam. First of all, guys, thanks for clearing your early Saturday morning schedule to join us. And good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So what would you guys have been doing if you weren't talking to me this morning?
Well, cooking some eggs. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know nothing. Watching some games, getting ready for the game, waiting for some games.
And Bill, if you weren't at the salon right now, what would you be doing?
My wife's office. I'd already be working on my next opponent. We got a big game coming up, so we just did a film exchange, and I'd have to get started breaking down my next opponent.
Yeah, y'all were off last night, right?
Yes.
Off to a 1-0 start for you guys that don't
know. 1-1. Lost
1-1.
A close one to Wakulla, and then we beat Fletcher. 1-1.
Oh, I thought Wakulla was the kickoff classic.
Yeah, that was our first game.
Okay.
All
right, so 1-1. If you don't know, Bill is the new head coach at Childs High School for you guys that don't are watching us outside of Tallahassee. So congratulations on a successful home game last weekend. And obviously you got down to Orlando. Mark got down to Orlando. So you had a busy weekend last weekend.
Yes, I did.
Yep.
Good
All right,
weekend.
guys. Let's jump right into it. We've never done a pregame show, so we're going to be feeling our way through it. But listen, Kez and Bill, Mark and I have spent most of the week talking about the LSU game, but I kind of want to get y'all's thoughts. What were your expectations about this Florida State team coming into that game? And what are your thoughts and impressions on Florida State coming out of the LSU game? And Kez, we'll start with you.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a chance to see them over the summertime. I didn't get a chance to go to any of the preseason practices, but I saw them in the summertime, and they looked really good. They looked athletic. I saw some of the new players that were there, and they looked like players. And so my expectation was to see how they would be implemented into an already offense, right? Over the past couple of years, I've watched Coach Norvell's offense and seeing kind of the pieces that they have in place, and just seeing how these new guys will be put into the context. My expectation was for FSU to win. Looking at LSU and from last year, they didn't look like they were very technical. They looked like they were very athletic based, but I didn't think they were very technical as far as being able to, use some, different types of schemes to be able to beat us. And so it turned that way in the game. It looked just like the last year's game from their part, but we just got better. They were one-dimensional last year, right? It looked like one-dimensional last year, quarterback scramble, running around, but it seemed like we got better as a team.
Bill, what about you?
I think just the team atmosphere, how are we going to be able to incorporate all these new pieces into what we have on offense and defense? We got some good additions on both sides of the ball, and try to see how they were going to bond and become a team and play as one unit. Coach Norvell does a fabulous job in that aspect, building the team chemistry, and I think it's fabulous. Jordan Travis is obviously a tremendous leader, and that has been a huge bonus for him, because where coaches aren't always around, you got to have some leaders that are also going to build and mold that team, and he does a fabulous job.
Well, Kez, you mentioned the fact that you thought Florida State was a much better team in week one than it was week 2 last year against LSU. Where specifically do you think Florida State's made its biggest strides on this roster compared to last year's roster?
Well, I think just, you look at the halves, right? Last year we had a good first half and then a not so good second half. This year we had a not so good first half and we had a spectacular second half, okay? It's really in the belief piece, right? A lot of the football is played because you believe in what you're doing. You believe in
Kez, I think we lost you.
Yes.
Kez, I think we lost you.
SEC's mutiny.
Right?
He must be saying something bad.
Yes, what are you saying? We can't hear. Did you mute yourself? Did you mute yourself? We can't hear you.
Y'all can hear me? No, I didn't.
Now we can.
Oh, no,
Okay.
Somebody called me. Hey, that's so bad. I hate that. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, let me say this right here. I think the where they got better at is just their belief, right? You know, some things in football aren't about X's and O's. They're about trust and relationship, right? And then trusting what you're doing. And I think their belief and they're willing to play together. They're trusting the coaches. They're passionate about what they're doing. Got it elevated, right? And I saw that through the last year, right? Last year, I was convinced that the guys would never quit. This year, it's continuing on to where the guys they don't quit, man. They play every snap. They play hard. If they make a mistake, but the next play they're gonna come play hard, okay? And they're gonna play for 4 quarters. And so now you add that into the equation with talent, more talent, a great offseason, another year in the system and the scheme, senior quarterback, right? Veteran players, and then you got a better team.
All right, so I do want to ask you guys this. I'm just going to say his name, Keon Coleman. What were your thoughts on his performance and what he's going to bring to this offense? And Kez, my specific question to you is going to be, when's the last time Florida State had a receiver this talented? And they've got some others on this team that are talented, but I don't think there's any question that he's the most talented receiver they have on this particular roster. And then, Bill, I want to get your thoughts on Keon and how you, as a guy that played defensive back and has been a defensive coordinator, how do you stop FSU's wide passing game with the guys that they have? So start with you, Kez. Your thoughts on Keon and the talent, what he brings to the offense and that group in general.
Bill can't stop me. Bill can't stop me. He's still trying to stop me. So I don't know how he's going to stop.
Knock you out.
That did not take long.
It did take long. I'm sorry, Bill. I love you. I love you. I had to say that. It made me say that right there. Okay. No, Keon, I think Keon is super talented. The first time I saw him, I watched him on film, and you don't see all the stuff when you watch a highlight film from the school in Michigan State, right? I saw that he had great catch radius. He had great handout coordination. He could jump, a lot of jump balls and things like that. I saw that. But when he got here in town, I saw him at practice, right? What I saw was great feet and great competitiveness. And so that's what he has. He's 6'3", 6'4", and he is big. He's not a tall and lanky guy. He's a tall and muscular guy. So he is strong. He has great basketball feet. And if you're a receiver, that's the super advantage. If you're tall, big, and you got basketball feet, you got point guard feet, man, you got a weapon. And that's what he has. That's what makes him elusive. But also he has great catch radius. So he has an advantage over most DBs, right? He's quick enough to get out the jam and create separation, but also he's so big to where a medium-sized DB with good feet can't stay with him. And so he is a walking advantage. And really all of our receivers, a lot of our receivers have that. Johnny has the same advantage. He is 6'7", and he has quick feet, right? Which gives us an advantage. And so I just think Keon is a matchup nightmare the whole year round, because there's not going to be many DBs that can match up with his skill sets on both ends of the spectrum.
All right, Bill, your thoughts on Keon, and if you're a defensive coordinator, how are you stopping this off, or what can you do to try to limit this offense? Because I don't think you can stop it.
Well, I mean, if you try to do one thing to slow him down, then like Kez said, you're going to turn right around and have to face Johnny Wilson on the other side. So, I mean, there's always issues with that much talent trying to slow him down. But he looks to me like a dang outside linebacker. He is really put together. Kez mentioned it. He's a specimen now, and he can run and change directions, and unbelievable athlete. So yeah, he's one that they'll always have issues with. But then again, if you start scheming to slow him down, there's no telling who might pop up and have a big game. You know, Johnny Wilson, a couple of others, some of those guys in the slot. We're always going to have other people.
Y'all bored me with all this receiver talk.
All right. Well, Mark, we're fixing to move on to the next thing, which is we're gonna start moving away from LSU. But I did want to get Kez and Bill's thoughts on the LSU game, and obviously what their thoughts are on the offense and Keon's obviously great debut as a Florida State Seminole. All right, so guys, I thought Mike Norvell probably ran two of the more intense practices we've seen in recent weeks. They were more early fall camp intense. Not that he's always intense. He's always energetic. He's always enthusiastic. But there was no doubt at practice on Tuesday that he was ready to put LSU behind him and get his teams focused on Southern Miss. You guys have all three been in situations because of the great teams you played on where you had coming off a big win and you're going into a game where you're supposed to be the prohibitive favorite and it's not supposed to be competitive. And you guys have been on that side of the equation, both as players and coaches. Talk about why maybe the coaches came out with a little extra juice on Tuesday and Wednesday and what your experience has been and why that's important. And Mark, since we haven't let you talk in a while, we'll let you start.
I think everybody on this call understands that when you win a game like that and everybody's telling you how good you are, the coaches are going to make sure that you're not as good as you think you are, and that's the key, right? And I think what Mike and the coach staff sees is the same things that we see, is that they got an opportunity. They got an opportunity with this team to do something really special, and it makes me feel good that they're not going to let it slip away. And so they came out and for what you're telling me, they had really intense practice. And look, I'm sure Bill and Kez will tell you. I know Mickey, I'm sure, allowed a lot of complacency after a big win. I can tell you Wayne McDuffie oftentimes just said, you know what, guys, take the day off and go sit Mitchell-less, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes me feel good because there's an opportunity with this team to do something special with the talent that we have, the schedule that we have, and they're not going to let it slip away.
Yeah. I guarantee you Mickey Andrews wouldn't. And that's the thing, you got to they got to continue to improve. And I know that's something that Coach Norvell, that he beats that drum, got to get better every practice. And sometimes you got to have a little more intensity. And he's very good at knowing when to pick it up and when to ramp it down, do whatever. He's good with that.
Yeah, I would say that what they say in coaching is this right here: when you lose, you gotta hug them up and love on them and give them some confidence. When you win, you gotta. That's the time you put the medal down, right? That's when they can't do no right, and so you're harder on them because it's right here because you want to. I feel like you want to build the culture that this is normal, right? It's normal. It's not like you had a big win. LSU can't be the big win, right? If LSU is the big win, then you crescendo, right? You're at the top of your game, and that's not what you want, right? If you have any aspirations of being a champion, you got to be able to have those guys ramp up and be able to build upon that and use that for confidence and say this is normal. This is normal protocol right here, and let's get back to work. Let's do what we do. Let's be who we are. And so I just believe that that's what I think that's what he's doing out there, is making it to where, okay, this is normal protocol. We're supposed to be LSU, right? And sometimes I think we don't want to say that, right? You want to be respectful, but the reality is that's the truth. All right, that's the mentality you have to be a champion, and you got to work that way too as well.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is it's pretty cliche, but you hear everybody say, you hear Verse say it, Travis say it, you hear everybody they interview say it. We worry about us. Right. We don't worry about who we're playing. We're trying to get better every day, and we're trying to get better, improve. It's about us. So they don't let the circumstances of who they're playing, where they're playing, what the stakes are, dictate how they work and how they prepare. And I think that is a tremendous culture to have. That's a tremendous attitude to have. Week to week to week to week. It breeds that consistency you want to see, regardless of who you play, regardless of what the circumstances are. And so if that is truly how they feel and how they approach every week, I think that bodes well for the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, listen, nobody on this program thinks that Florida State's going to lose tonight. Probably no one in the FSU fan base thinks FSU is going to lose tonight. But there's probably about 85 guys from Hattiesburg, Mississippi that think they've got at least a puncher's chance, right? We've seen some unexpected things happen in college football in Tallahassee before, including a team that FSU had that finished with a losing record, beating a fifth-ranked UNC team that came in here as supposed one of the better teams in the country. And then we've seen some games that were a Sanford 5 or 6 years ago that came and played Florida State. Now, I think we'd all agree this is a different Florida State football team than the one that played Sanford. And then, of course, we've seen Florida State get beat by a team we didn't think it could get beat by. Again, it's a different college. This is a different Florida State team. But, Mark, what is in these last 24 to 48 hours? I mean, practice lets up a little bit on Thursday and Friday. They're not as least physically intensive, but what is Mike Norvell's message to his team as they get ready to head into this game tonight? Where, listen, we would all be dumbfounded if it was even close, let alone allow them to play 4 quarters.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of what Mike has built here is what I just said. It doesn't matter the circumstances. We have a standard that we got to meet. And I think the other thing, too, that makes this team a potential, team to do some great things is that this is a player-led team. It's not a coach-led team. It's not, I know the coaches were intense and it probably needed to be for this week because of all the passing back they're getting. But I think at the heart, you've got your best players are your leaders, and they're mature, and they set a standard. Travis, Verse, Keon coming in, the linemen, we have a veteran group that are our best players, that are our leaders, and they have the right attitude. They're selfless, from everything I see. I mean, Jordan Travis, all he talks about is how grateful he is to be on this team and how he loves his team. And that's the attitude you want. So I think, I don't think he has to do anything different. I think he just needs to keep the focus internally and go out and play at your best. And a standard is us. To Kez's point, beating LSU is not a big deal for us because we're the standard, not somebody else. And we're not going to let other people dictate who we are and what we are. We're going to take control of that situation and do it. So I think that message has been consistent, not just for this week, but, going back. And so you don't really have to do or say anything different. You just got to keep the team focused on what's important.
Bill and Kez, y'all want to add to that?
I mean, you just got to continue to work on yourself. Like Mark mentioned earlier, you got to make sure you're doing everything you can and worrying about your team. And in a game like this, you can't get complacent because it's somebody you're predicted to beat. Well, they mess up in Las Vegas every Saturday. They miss on those all the time. You better make sure your team's ready. And I think we will be. Like Mark said, we got mature kids that are leading our program, and everything that they do out there throughout the week is geared toward performing well on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the worst things you can do is look at the names on the jerseys, right? If you look at the names, if you respect the names on the jerseys, then guess what? You're playing up or playing down based on the competition, right? You can't be worried about this Bear Sanders or Lawrence Taylor, nothing like that. You got to come out there and play ball. And so that's the mentality. If they playing Southern Miss or LSU, man, there's no difference. Come out there and give your very best, okay? If I said I'm gonna come and work for $1, guess what? I expect $1 worth of work, right? And so you come out there, you put it in, you put the work in, okay? So that's the mentality. It's a workman's mentality, right? It ain't got nothing to do with who you are. And so for us, I think for me, I would hope that that's the mentality of our team, is not worried about this LSU or if it's Southern Miss or if it's Clemson or whoever it is. Man, you're gonna get this work in. You're gonna get this work, just like whoever dog is barking there, probably Bills, right? You can get this work in.
Are you talking about his feet as he gets
it could be his feet.
Okay.
Yeah. Kez, keep on going.
Okay, yeah. Well, so that's my thought process. It's mentality, man. The biggest thing we can have today is for us for the mentality to be coached, right? Because I'll tell you one thing too as well. This is a great game for us, right? Because your second game, what's going to happen is the other team's got the film, right? And so they're going to look at all the film. They're going to see all the weaknesses you have. Okay, you say we get the safety, or we get this area, or we get this area, and now you're going to get some good self scouting from other coaches that are going to look at your stuff and try to attack it, right? And then now, guess what? You're going to get you're going to get some information back from the teams that you play to tell you where you need to get better at, right? Because they're going to be trying to find a way to beat you, right? And so through that process, you get good information too as well. So this is a great game to build depth, because you gotta whoop their butt, get them, and by halftime have this game over with, so you can get some of those other players in the game, right? Feel comfortable about doing that. But then you're gonna learn a lot, because they got good coaches too, and they're gonna break the film down, and they're gonna try to get their players in position to be successful as well, and they're gonna show you some stuff. And so when I look at this thing, I see some wins, but I think it's mental for us, but it's also some X's and O things that we can get better at too, based on what Southern Miss shows us.
All right. Well, you got a Southern Miss team coming in here who beat Alcorn State 40-14. Now they played a ton of players in that game on both sides of the ball. Frank Gore Jr., the great running back, only had 9 total touches in the entire game, 6 runs, 3 catches, no big stat line there. They passed the ball very effectively, 21-28 by Billy Wiles. The Clemson transfer is a starter at quarterback. They do have a really good at least one really good receiver. He had 5 catches for 104 yards. They didn't run the ball tremendously well, and they were only 35% on third down. Conversely, on defense, they did give up 180-something yards rushing to Alcorn State. Now and I'm assuming Alcorn State just couldn't throw the ball. They only had 44 yards, and obviously losing by 20-something points. So what are you guys' keys for FSU against Southern Miss? And obviously, what are some of the things that you think Florida State needs to improve on from last week to have a dominating win? But who wants to start?
Defensively, they just got to play well. I mean, I think if they can come in and got to stop the run on first and second down, and then get after the passer on third down. I think as long as we can go and do that and establish the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, I think we'll be fine.
Bill, you have a fan. Look at that comment. Do you know that guy?
Till Dog 12.
Till Dog 12.
That is Bill Ragans live and in color, ladies and gentlemen.
Sully. I'm going to get you, Sully.
Number 15 in the program, number 1 in your hearts, baby.
Billy boy. Hey, I'll go now. I'll let you finish it off. But
for me, it's about the line of scrimmage. That we should dominate the line of scrimmage, and that's what I want to see. I want to see us run the ball effectively. I want to see defense, stop the run. I mean, that's going to be the challenge against this team, is they got the running back they think is pretty good, and all accounts is he's really good. Can we swarm him? Play good team defense. Make sure all our gaps are covered. Just not let anything cheap happen. And it's going to take a little discipline. We're emotional. We're going to come out, ready to go. The crowd's going to be hyped and wanting to cheer this team on. And so can we stay disciplined, cover all the gaps? Nothing silly. I want to see us play just a clean game. No late hits, holding calls, pre-snap penalties, that kind of stuff. I like to see us play a really clean game.
All right, Bill, that is Wayne Tillman from
from Madison. I know Wayne.
Yep.
We grew up playing ball against one another.
All right. Wayne, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, obviously. All right, so we've got a question that these guys want you to answer, and you're not allowed to repeat the player. So going first in this drill is very important. But if FSU is able to take a significant enough lead where they can start playing a vast majority of the guys dressed out, what backups or freshmen are you most excited to see? Zeiler says this is a long list, but you can't choose the same player. So who wants to go first on this drill?
I will. I want to see Julian Armella and Jalen Early. I want to see those two jokers get in the game and see what they can do. Because that, moving forward for our depth and even for years to come, those guys are going to be key for us. I want to see how they do. Hopefully they get in the game.
I would say, man, it's always the backup quarterback, right? So Tate, see Tate, you got to be able to see him play, and because that first of all, I mean, Jordan's a senior, and you got to be able to get those guys. That guy has to get some experience and some confidence, and the team has to get confidence in him that he can be the guy next year, or if something was to happen. So the backup quarterback's for me.
Bill? What I was going to say is to see who's going to emerge as the backup.
There's more backup quarterbacks than Tate, so he said Tate. So technically, you still got a couple of guys.
We got to figure out who's going to be some of the backup linebackers. I think we got a good group of first couple of guys, and I'd like to see somebody emerge and make some plays at linebacker too.
All right, I'm going to go all day Dre, Vantravius Jacobs, who stood out in the spring tremendously. I thought he was going to compete for the punt return job. It seems like Keon's got that, but he's a very elusive guy to tackle. He's got great burst. He's hard to bring down. In some ways, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Kez. He can get through little spaces that you're not expecting. He's got a little wiggle to him. So I want to see all day Dre turn loose a little bit in this game. I think that would be a fun guy to see. I knew Mark would stay on point with the offensive line. I thought Kez would go receivers, and I thought Bill would go. He did go defense. So we pretty much stayed
true to form.
Yeah, true to form. And I've been wanting to say, and we got Zeiler says his guys. Rodney, he says Holmes. I'm assuming Rodney Hill because Holmes for Zeiler. Levante wants to see Rodney. Rodney Hill's going to be, he's going to be good. I can't wait to watch him run a little bit more. All right, so Bill, we got a question for you specifically. How do you divide your game time up? You have a daughter that cheers for Florida State, who is on the sidelines, and then you got these plays going off. So, are you more nervous about the games? Are you on the field? Or are you more nervous about the pyramids off the field?
My wife focuses on the cheerleading part a little more, so I'm able to free my time up in my eyes and watch the game. But commercials, TV timeouts, whatever, and in between quarters, I can watch my daughter. I'm very proud of her. She is a third generation cheerleader. My mother-in-law cheered, my wife cheered, and now my daughter's all cheered at FSU. So I'm very proud of her.
You should
That's
be.
Cool.
That's got to be cool for the entire family. But
yes,
I didn't know how many of our listeners, subscribers, all of that knew that. So I thought it was. I just wanted to give you a chance to brag on her a little bit.
Yeah.
And hey, wasn't she a heck of a flag football player?
She was a very, very good athlete. She is an athlete, and she played all 4 years of that flag football there at Childs as well. Tremendous little athlete, competitor. Both of them my son's a competitor too, but he's finally gotten to where he can beat me in golf, so I don't want to even bring him up. But
does he let you know?
That's a low bar.
Low bar. Sully, I think I played with you recently too.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so let's take a little jog down memory lane. It's not a very Mark's got a happy memory lane story involving Southern Miss, but listen, Billy Wiles is no Brett Favre. But listen, Bill, now Kez, were you here in '89?
I was not here in '89, but I watched the game on TV and said plenty of times, FSU sucks. Plenty of times. What in the world?
You are from Mississippi.
Yeah.
What's that little place you from down there in the southern part of Mississippi?
It's Goshen, Mississippi.
Goshen, baby.
Goshen.
So that was a big day for Goshen, Mississippi, and Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah,
now, Bill, you actually played in the game.
My first college start.
Yeah. So give us first of all, I don't know. That was a tremendously. hot
No
day.
wonder.
Oh, you're getting the blame for it.
What I can't remember that guy's name. He's in the Hall of Fame. I can't even think.
Fabry,
Fabry.
right?
That was
Yeah.
him, Mark. That's
Yeah.
it.
He may
Licking
be
his
somebody
He
chops.
was
else.
pretty good, Kez. He was pretty good. Yeah, but that was my first start in Jacksonville in some scorching heat, and just we didn't get it done. I hated it, but we ended up having a good year. All worked out.
Yeah, I think y'all ran off 10 in a row, didn't it? Either 9 or
Yeah.
10 in a row in that
10.
season. It turned out to be. I think y'all were the best team in the nation by the time we got to the end of that year. There were a lot of people saying that anyway. But
The time I was there, we ended up being really good all 4 years. Just without a playoff, we couldn't,
So what was your, when you think of that game, Bill? What's the first thing that pops into your head?
Again, don't be complacent. You got to make sure you're prepared. We weren't expecting them to be that good. Brett Favre, didn't know who Brett Favre was. We did afterwards, but just make sure you're prepared. Same things I'm sure that Coach Norvell's going over right now. Don't be surprised at how talented they are. They get up every morning and work hard and prepare themselves to be great as well. I was with Sully when we played in Hattiesburg and scored my only college touchdown on a block punt in Hattiesburg.
Is that 1987?
Yes, in 87.
So, Sully, do you remember that? Do you realize Bill was a playmaker?
You're right. I think the score at the time he got in there and did that was probably 50-0 at the time. But
no, hey, you rascal.
I'm kidding. No, absolutely. I mean, I just remember going down there, and I know we boat raced them pretty good. It was like 65-10 or 13, something like that. We really killed them. And so Brett Favre was a true freshman that year, I think. And only thing
the coach.
Yeah.
Was he? I can't remember. Yeah, it might have been. But I do remember, after we got done and showered and walking back to the bus, and we had to walk by the Southern Miss locker room, and Favre was still sitting outside on a cooler with his football pants on and just his hat shirt on, and he was beat to heck. I mean, and that's one thing I remember that game. We, our defense just absolutely just crushed them. That guy was taking hits all over the place, and I think he was a freshman at the time. So I'm sure that kind of stuck with him a little bit. So when he had a chance to get back at us, he did. But yeah, that's what I remember about that game. He was just in there. I mean, he had an ice pack. He was just shaking his head. He was all muddied up and mucked up, and just so that was a good 45 hour after the game, walking back to the bus. It was pretty wild.
All right, so Mark, I've got a really important question for you. And I'm afraid to ask because I'm afraid I'm going to want to drive to Nashville. But what is on the grill today?
Well, I have some beef plate ribs that are ready to go. And, we'll get that going in time for the 8:30 kickoff tonight. So,
yeah, have y'all ever seen it when Sully posts pictures of his tomahawk steaks on Facebook?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I think
I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian, Pat. So it's a personal choice, and respect my decision.
Hey, listen,
you don't get this big on accident, Sully.
Hey, by the way, right. Sully's lost 50 pounds.
Yeah, I know. He looks good. I found it. It's right underneath my, on top of my belt line.
I got some too, Billy. To my shame, I got some.
Still handsome though.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna say this right here. Let me say this right here before we go. Right, I pick on Bill all the time, but I really love him. I really love him. That's my friend. That's my guy. I know I pick on him a lot, and it's all done out of brotherly love. All done out of brotherly love.
You kid because you care.
Yeah,
that's right.
You kid because you care. All right, so Kez, where are you taking in the game? You going to the game? You watching it at the house? What's the plan?
I'm gonna go to the game, man. I've committed myself to going and getting the full experience. All right, the walking and the crowds and everything, and listen to people in the stands with, that complain and all the kind of other stuff. I've committed myself to going and taking the whole experience. So I'll be at the game, watching it, not getting the replays that you want to get, buying that $8 popcorn and that $10 Coke. We're going to go ahead and do the whole experience.
You need to take your Kez McCorvey playing card with it and show it at the vendor stand and say, hey, you don't charge me. Don't you know who I am?
They don't care. They don't care. They care about that dollar.
They should. All three of you guys helped build that monument, huge brick monument to football. And Mark literally helped build
right.
brick monument.
When I was a grad assistant, I on the summer I worked on the bricklaying crew when they were building that thing. So I had the scars to prove it. So not only did I bleed on the field, I bled building the daggum thing. So
all right, Bill. So where are you going to be for the game? I think I know, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Yeah, we're going. We have tickets with friends in a box, and we got Dave Roberts, and then John McCann, another buddy of mine, and some other guys invested in the Coach Bowden's new restaurant. We may go by there and tailgate for a little bit before we go to the actual tailgate. I think we went to the soft opening and it was fabulous. I think it's a great concept and it's got a lot of memorabilia, man. It was a stroll down memory lane, seeing some of the pictures and stuff with Coach Bowden all over the walls. It was amazing. It's going to be a great little venue.
Yeah, that was a fun time on Wednesday night at the soft opening, and it is going to be a cool restaurant. We only got to see about half of it because they were getting the other half ready to go for today. But appreciate John and Dave having us out there on Wednesday night. It was fun. It was like a reunion. I had a little. I'm not going to lie. I had some frost on the pumpkin on Thursday morning. That was a rough wake up, but we got it done. And hey, by the way, Bill, Mark and Kez wanted me to remind you they're still waiting on an invite to the suite.
I got them when they come.
Yeah. Look how he does it. Look how he does it. Big times.
I invite everybody. I can't get them tickets. I invite them all.
Hey, but you should go by his tailgate. That might be the best tailgate on game day. I can't remember what y'all call y'all's group, but I've had the opportunity. I haven't been by in a couple of years, but before I started the Osceola, I was a regular at that thing. Now I have to behave myself until after the game, so I don't tempt fate by going by that bar and Ariel serving drinks and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be a fun time at that tailgate. That's where you need to go, Mark, next time you come.
I've been, and I'll go again.
Right, so what we always do on what we used to do on Osceola tailgate is we go through quickly a couple of game picks, and then we end with a Florida State score prediction for this game. So quickly, we're going to go through the more marquee matchups for this year. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of everybody's only played one game with the exception of Notre Dame, who's played two. But Notre Dame goes to NC State, guys. I believe they're favored by 7. They're ranked 10th in the country. It's wide open over there to see who's the best team in the ACC in either South or North Carolina. Duke right now is my pick. But can NC State upset the Irish today? Who you got, Mark?
Heck yeah. I'm going NC State. You know how it is going over there. Those folks are crazy over there at Carter Finley, and they're a tough group to beat at home. And Doran is not my favorite guy in the world, but he gets those guys playing hard, and they'll hit you in between the whistles and frustrate you and do all that kind of stuff. And Notre Dame has been being hyped a little bit. I want to see it, but then again they got Sam Hartman, right? And that guy is pretty good too. But I think I say they pull the upset.
Bill,
I'm with NC State. I'll give Todd Fordham. He's one of his boys is up there playing outside back,
right.
And I look for the upset as well.
I'm gonna say Notre Dame, man. I'm gonna say Notre Dame. Why? Because Bill said the other team. That's the only reason. Going against Bill. You can't go wrong right there. You can't go wrong with that. That's a good.
That's logic. Of any analysis you'll hear on any show in any part of the country, that's probably the best analysis you'll ever get.
Yep. Simple and to the point. Don't read too much into it. All right, I'm going with NC. I'm going with NC State too. And by the way, Todd Fordham's son is a good player. I mean, he's going to play a lot of football for NC State this year, and they think he's replacing a really, really good linebacker, and they don't think there's going to be much fall off at linebacker at NC State with him. He only lost one of their three starters, and they feel like Cade's got a good chance to really help them this year. So
Earl Jr.
And listen, I don't know how Todd Fordham does it. He's got one playing high school ball. He's got one playing at Louisiana, Lafayette. He's got one playing at NC State. That's going to be a crazy football. And he's coaching. So, yeah.
Gas and cable, baby. Gas and cable. He's driving everywhere and paying for the cable.
All right. It's probably not as sexy a matchup as that, but it's a good matchup. It's a P5 versus P5. Purdue at Virginia Tech. Who you taking, Kez? We'll go back the opposite way.
I'm gonna go with Purdue. I'm gonna go with old Narduzzi and Purdue over there. Not Purdue, not Narduzzi. I'm sorry, that's Pitt. I'm not going with them. I'm going with Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech. Sorry, I was thinking about Pitt. I'm sorry, I was thinking about Pitt.
So you threw him off because you made him pick before Bill.
Yes, he did.
Well, since he took Virginia Tech, I guess I'm going to take Virginia Tech too.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not as mean-hearted, mean-spirited as Kez is.
Keep working at it.
You'll get sweetheart, Bill. That's for sure.
I'll get there, right?
Yeah, you'll get there.
All right, Mark, who you got?
I know absolutely nothing about either of these teams. So where's it at?
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, okay, I'll go Virginia Tech. We'll enter Sandman and they'll get. Yeah, we'll go.
By the way, I watched a video of that. I do want to go to Virginia Tech game at night just to watch the pregame entrance. Then I can leave. That is badass. And unfortunately, they're playing this game in the afternoon, I believe, so it won't have the same effect. But that place rocks at night when they're good and they got Sandman going. But yeah, I'll go with Virginia Tech in this one. I don't know what Purdue lost. I know they lost their head coach, who ran it up on Murray State Thursday night. He was still passing with under 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they're up by 50-something points. It was ridiculous. But anyway, that's off the point. All right, so a game that I'm sure it's going to be hard for I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to pick a winner because I would like to see them finish this game in a tie. Unfortunately, the rules of college football do not allow for that anymore. Texas A&M at Miami. All right, so Mark, you get to go first.
All right, yeah. So I think Texas A&M probably just has a better roster up and down right now, and I'm going to go with Texas A&M and Bobby Petrino calling the plays. I do want to see how Jimbo handles that. I bet you he's going to be all whatever about that, in a big game like this. But I just think the roster is probably better top to bottom, and I don't think Miami's quite ready yet to handle that. I think they're going to be playing some young guys up front, and that might be a little trying for them. So I'm going the Aggies.
All right.
Yeah, I'll say this right here. I'm big Bill. I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna say Texas A&M, and I'm gonna put this right here only because Miami can't get to the point where they frustrate Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M, especially with Bobby Petrino, and I don't know him but just from what I've seen, I think his teams would, if they get pressure, then his teams would implode because of just the I think the cultural context of the guys that are coaching them. But I don't think Miami can get them there. I don't think Miami can threaten them enough to make them hit the panic button and kind of turn inwardly, to make the win.
All right, Bill.
A&M looked good on SportsCenter this morning, so I'm
You're not watching film and breaking them down, Bill? Come on.
No, I didn't have it. I'm waiting to do it now.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give Texas A&M, and listen, I think it says a lot about Miami's program that they were offering tickets 2 for $1 earlier this week. They had some kind of ridiculous special. They can't even put any fans in the stands for against a team that's going to be really, really good by the end of the year, probably Texas A&M. But anyway, So what I suggested, I was talking to somebody the other day, what I think Miami needs to do is institute COVID policies for home games and put cardboard cutouts in their stands so they can sell the place out. Right? I mean, that's what has come to at Miami. And of course, there's no program. Like, I know that you guys probably hate Florida worse than Miami because it's the biggest game of the year for Florida State. But there's no I mean, listen, I love Todd Stroud, and I hate that I'm saying that about Todd's team. But anyway, I'm going to go TAMU big. All right, so another game that was at least interesting last year. I think it was last year that it was like a 70-67 game. App State returns the game to UNC. UNC's got a lot of hype around it itself. They played a big game last week against South Carolina. App State's been a team that has regularly shocked Power 5 opponents. You guys see Mac and the Tar Heels get upset this weekend, or you think North Carolina's going to run away with it? Bill, you get to go first this time.
I think North Carolina's got too much for them. Yeah, they're too good a program, I think. Bill.
Yeah, I agree. I think and I love App State's culture. I think they've had the same culture, for a bunch of years, but I don't think they have enough talent to overcome UNC's just a pool of talent, speed, offense, quarterback, and I think their defense is halfway getting better. At least for one game. And so I think UNC on this one.
Mark?
Yeah, I don't think App State's sneaking up on anybody here anytime soon. So, quarterback for Drake May's just too good. But it'll be closer than the experts think.
All right, and I'm sure your former teammate, Lawrence Dawsey, who's wide receivers coach at App State, appreciates your support.
I changed your pick. LD's my guy.
Yes. Hey, right. You know those guys are going to block their tail off on those guys. So those quarters and safeties better get ready. And those linebackers on the crack.
They're tough.
I guarantee you, they're going to grind them to the ground.
Listen, North Carolina always stubs their toe when they're supposed to be good. They stubbed against Florida State 2 or 3 years ago. I think 2021 was that game happened. So I'm picking Appy State, and I'm picking the upset here. All right, so a game that is kind of under the radar from a national scale, but has got a chance to be really good, I think. You got Cincinnati going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, according to E.J. Manuel, is a quarterback away from competing for the ACC championship. They might have that quarterback in Phil Jurkovec, who's transferred from Boston College. Cincinnati obviously has been one of the better programs over the last 4 or 5 years under Luke Fickell, who is now at Wisconsin. I couldn't even tell you who the head coach is at Cincinnati this year. But how do you guys see? Who are you picking in this game? Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
I'm going Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh all the way. I think Deuce has had a good program for the last couple of years. They've been consistent. He's a defensive guy. The defense is going to always be pretty decent, regardless. And so I picked Pittsburgh.
I thought he was at Purdue.
He's well at Purdue.
He's been at several places.
He gets around. He gets
in
around.
The last 5 minutes, Pat Burnham has coached at least 3 of these football teams in the last 5 minutes.
Right. Hey, what happened is this right here. As soon as I said his name, he took off his little headset that said Purdue. And then when I said Pitt, he took those things off, ran down to Pittsburgh right there, put him on, and now he's the head coach at Pitt.
Oh, God. Work.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pitt. The defense is gonna be solid. I think you're right. I think Jurkovec, will be a guy for them that's gonna make them go a little bit. And look, they're a good team. They're solid, so I'll go with them.
Me too. I like Pitt.
Oh, okay. Hey, I left one off our cheat sheet that I sent everybody, and I can't believe I did that. We've got it. We got 2 more games after this, but Nebraska at Colorado. Now listen, I don't think that we're not going to confuse Nebraska's defense with the black shirts y'all played against. There's no doubt about that. But Colorado is not going to confuse this Nebraska defense with the defense they played last week that couldn't have stopped, I don't know anything really. Both defenses were not really
couldn't stop Childs High School.
Let's go.
But
right?
Great
all right, Kez, roll back around to you. You got the first pick this time. Nebraska or Colorado?
Oh my goodness! I you know what? This is not an easy game, right? Because you know what, the surprise that Colorado had was nobody had film on them. Nobody really had film on them, and so you couldn't tell who was who and what was what. But they're gonna have film this week, though. Nebraska's gonna have film, and they're gonna have a plan for them. And my thing is right here. I think Nebraska can run the ball a little bit. They had some good running. I mean, they got QB run game +1. That's hard. We ain't got no defensive linemen, so I think it's gonna be hard on Colorado. You know, and I think we might very well. I mean, we could possibly see Colorado win, but it's gonna be close. I can't tell you. I'm in the middle of that thing. I'm still trying to convince myself.
Well, if Pat Narduzzi coached at Nebraska, who would you pick?
It would be Pat. Pat Narduzzi would win at Nebraska. But Matt Rule, I'm not getting Matt Rule. I'm not giving Matt Rule this shot. I'm gonna go ahead because I am true. I'm gonna go with Prime. I'm gonna go with Colorado. But I'm gonna tell you my concerns is that front. You know, offense and defense. Can they block? Can they hold up? And then can they run block and can they stop the run? That's gonna be my question.
Yeah. Bill?
I think it's a toss-up, truly. I don't know. I don't even know what the line is. I don't do the gambling thing, but I think Nebraska, just because of the run game, Colorado didn't look very good on the run against the run last week against TCU. So I'll go with Nebraska in a very good game.
Yep. I think it's going to be a good game. Sully?
You know, I'm going to go with Coach Prime, and I'm going to tell you why. I agree with everything everybody said here about the line of scrimmage and all that, but he does have a couple difference makers, you know, and it only takes a couple plays in a close game, right? And so, because I don't think Nebraska is anything to sneeze at either in terms of that. So, and it's at home, and those guys are going to be jacked. And I'm gonna go Coach. I'm gonna go Colorado on this one.
I just my thought is right here. My thought is right here is it's not the outside, it's the sacks. I just think, you know, the big picture, and I picked Colorado, but I just think Nebraska and the pass rush is gonna and they're gonna take away a lot of those easy access throws too, and so it's gonna make it harder, and then you're gonna have to drop back a little farther to get down the field, and then the sacks. That's what it's like.
He's gonna have to run around. He's gonna take some hits. Shadur's gonna take some hits.
Yeah,
you know, it'll be tough, but Travis Hunter and some of those guys, it's a difference maker. You know,
that running back's pretty good. Freshman running back's pretty good. I can't remember his name, but listen, I think it's going to be interesting to see how. What's that?
Is that freshman running back's name Narduzzi?
Bill, it's over, Bill.
It's like a dog with bone.
We still got 2 more games. I'm sure Narduzzi can move somewhere else.
Cut Bill's screen off.
All right, so I think we talk about letdowns. Everyone's been pumping Colorado up all year. You can remember when you guys played, Coach Bowden always said, listen, it's hard, I don't know if he said it to y'all, but he certainly said it one of his philosophies. It's hard to be clicking on all cylinders all season long. It's just the nature of it. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Colorado responds to everyone pumping them up. They're not, listen, they haven't been together for a long time, right? There's like 800 new players at Colorado. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that. I want to go with Nebraska, but there's no doubt Colorado has the best quarterback. Jeff Sims makes some interesting throws and always has. He's talented. He can run the ball, obviously. He's got an arm, but some of his decision making is questionable at times. But I don't know. Listen, Matt Rule's a very, very good football coach. I think he's going to show Colorado some things they have not seen before, although Pat Shermer kind of offsets that with all that on the other side with all his NFL experience. He's an analyst for Coach Sanders there at Colorado. But I'm thinking that I think this is going to be a little bit different team than they saw last week, so I'm going to go with Nebraska. All right, so probably the other game of the day, Texas, one of the most overhyped football programs of all time, at Alabama. Will Texas go out of its way to show that it's overrated, as they do most every year? And does Nick get it going? I mean, everyone's kind of not, we don't talk about Alabama unless they lose a ball game. You do realize that, right? So that's how good they are. It's only news if they lose. We don't talk about them if they win. But is it going to be Nick or Steve Sarkisian? His former assistants are like 2-38 against him. I think Jimbo's beat him once, and I can't remember who the other guy was.
Kirby,
I think
a couple times.
Kirby.
Kirby's got him. What do you guys? How do you see Texas Alabama playing out?
I think it's going to be a boat race. I think Alabama is going to crush them. That's what I think. I think, look, in everything I heard about how Alabama's approached this season, and of course, Joey Ionata's kid is committed to them, and Joey's been in a couple practices and stuff. They've been getting after it. They're going back to old Alabama, right? Their deal is they're going to maul the line of scrimmage. And it's one thing I know about Texas teams and Texas guys, they can be a little soft, and if you're going to come in anything less than just a kick butt attitude in that place, they're going to maul you. And I think that's what's going to happen. I'd be surprised if it's even close, honestly.
Bill,
I'm going to take Texas simply, but my sister-in-law and brother-in-law live out there and are big Longhorn fans, so I'm going to go Texas. Anybody want to give me the points?
I bet you don't do that betting thing, quote unquote.
I know. I
right?
understand.
I'm gonna go with Texas as well too. I just I think offensively they got a new quarterback. He's not a freshman, but he's a new quarterback, and he may be talented. But I don't think he's at the level of talent that they've had in the past. I just don't think he's there yet. And I think this Sarkisian has been with Nick, so he knows Nick's stuff. He knows the coverages. He knows some of the rhythms that he uses too as well. And so I think scheme-wise, second in the year, I think you got no better opportunity to have a scheme to be able to fit what another coach is going to do. And so I think this is probably a very easy game for Sarkisian to go and put together a scheme to be able to score points on Alabama.
Yeah, well, I'm very biased there's two teams I'm really biased about, Florida State and Alabama. I'm only going to pick against Alabama if they lose a game first, and they haven't lost a game yet. And I think that when you're not talking about an Alabama football team that's usually, in a relative sense, when we're not talking about them all the time, and there's no hype around this team really. It's been Colorado and Florida State and several other teams coming out of this first going into the second week of the season. I'm gonna say the Tide are going to roll. So I think we were unanimous on that, right? 4 for Alabama.
No, they won Texas.
He picked like I did with his heart, not his head. So
I'm going ahead. I'm just thinking strategically. I'm thinking,
I am too. I'm thinking the line of scrimmage. Alabama's going to dominate the game on the line of scrimmage, and I think that's going to be enough.
Hey, by the way, congratulations on working Joey Ionata into the conversation, Mark. I was wondering if that was going to happen.
Easy.
And
Big cheesy.
And that is the first teams that Pat Narduzzi has not coached in this drill. I think Nick Saban's got some job security, so I think he's going to be fine. All right, so the last game, of course, is Southern Miss at Florida State. I think we all got FSU winning. I've got them 49-17. Bill, what's your score prediction on FSU Southern Miss?
45-14. 45-10.
45-10.
I think 50. We in the 50s. 50s. I'm gonna say 56-7.
I'm gonna say 48-13. I'm gonna say young guys get in. Yeah, I say it's gonna be. We're gonna run the ball lots. Clock's gonna go fast. Young guys get in. Yeah, 48-13.
Yeah, I listen. I think if they kept their starters in through 3 quarters, it would probably be what Craig Leonard just said, 72-3. But I agree with Mark. They're going to probably hopefully get up to a big lead fast and get some young guys in. I do think they'll run the ball. I do think the stars of the game will be the running backs today. I think they're going to try to shorten this game up, keep people healthy, and get ready for Boston College as they get ready for Clemson. These next 2 games could be monumental blowouts if they want them to be. I don't see how they're going to get stopped by Southern Miss or Boston College for that matter. All right, guys. Well, listen, I know I've taken up an hour of your Saturday. It's been a lot of fun. I knew it would be. A lot of laughs, a lot of smiles. That's the way pregame should be. Pregames with friends. It's great. We got 3 true experts on football and above that. So I love hearing y'all's takes on Florida State and obviously college football. It's also fun to watch Kez make fun of Bill and then us make fun of Kez and Pat Narduzzi. Hey, Kez, just one last question. Have you started a Pat Narduzzi website yet? Fan club website?
I will start a Pat Narduzzi website. Actually, I'll tell you what happened is right here. I met Pat Narduzzi a couple of years ago at one of the conventions over there.
What was he coaching?
Huh?
What was he coaching in?
What was he coaching? I think he was coaching Child. Bill, I'm not gonna say anything negative. I'm gonna say I saw you running zone, and I saw you guys win the game the other night too. And I said, you know what? I'm proud of my boy Bill. They look good. The boys look good. I'm proud of you. That's all
I guarantee you they play hard.
All right, so Bill, go back to your pedicure. Mark, go back to the grill. Yep. I've got to walk the dog. She's about to go crazy behind me. So we all got 30 minutes to get this done before the big noon kickoff at Colorado. So, but that is a beautiful. Bill, you get backdrop of the day today.
I do. My beautiful bride. This is her office set up.
Yep.
She's got this thing working here.
Well,
hey Bill. Hey Bill, don't stand up though, Bill. Don't stand up. I don't want you to stand up because I don't want to see what you're wearing. While you getting your butt massage, you know, I don't want to see that.
Oh my God!
He's getting his nails done off camera right now.
Yeah.
Right. So I just.
Hey Bill, let us know what Steph thinks about the show. I know she was watching today. Let us know what she.
Oh
thinks.
yeah.
How do we get a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Hey, that's why I figure if I brought up your daughter, that would help our ratings with her.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure she didn't really care about the football part.
You'd be amazed what why are you running this? Why do you that guy don't throw it to number so and so? He drops it she's a mess. She'd been all over Kez if she'd have coached when Kez played.
Wow.
Bill, I love you. I love you,
buddy.
Hey,
I love you.
I think we ought to get out of here while we're all still friends.
All right, guys. I enjoyed that. Thank you for having me, Pat.
Hey, Bill, Kez, Mark, I appreciate it. Listen, if you're not an Osceola subscriber and you just watch our YouTube shows and listen to our podcast, please go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com. It'll take you to the same place. Check us out. We got some free content. We got some content behind the paywall. We've got a special running right now through September 11th where you can get an annual subscription rate of $45.24. That's right, LSU score through September 11th. So 45 to 24 for a new annual subscription. Kez, I expect to see your name pop up on the list of new subscribers. Listen, check us out. But should be a fun night. The student section is sold out for this game. I don't know about the ticket sales otherwise, but as always, we got one. Everybody's pointing at Kez right now. It's like the Brady Bunch right here. All right, so Mark, hey, I'm just glad it's everybody's pointer finger. I'm just glad it's everybody's pointer.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Mark, sign us off as always.
Go Noles.
Let's go. Thank you, guys.